Welcome to episode 12 of the Rex Chapman Show with super cool, super sexy, super hot, super awesome, super everything, Josh Hopkins.
Hey, thanks, Rex Chapman.
You're welcome, buddy. I'm really excited about this episode today. Do you know who we have?
I sure do, and I'm effervescent. I'm glowing. I can't contain myself.
We have Jamal Crawford, Jay Crossover, and I personally know he happens to be one of your faves.
All time. I mean, just what that guy can do with a basketball is high art. I love Jamal Crawford. I'm so excited.
You're going to love him even more. I mean, people say it all the time. It's corny. I get it, but he's even a better dude than basketball player. You'll see. Before we get into it, let's do book club.
Okay. Yes. People know a segment we do where we talk about we've been reading over the week. What do you got for us today, Rex?
It was a busy week. The Masters was going on, or not the Masters, the PGA was going on. A lot of playoffs. I didn't get around to anything this week.
Oh, okay. Well, I didn't either. So that's been book club. Yeah. How about Phil? The old lefty.
How about Phil? 50 years old. I love it. We're gonna have to set our targets on Phil. Maybe get Phil on the old pod.
That would be something else.
It
wouldn't be like I wouldn't be as excited as I am today.
And you know what? I wanted to talk to you about the playoffs because they're so great. But you know what? Let's just talk about the playoffs with Jamal Crawford. Jamal, thanks for coming on, buddy.
Legend, of course. And Josh, I appreciate you, man. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. That means a lot.
Thanks for all the entertainment over the years, man. Thank you. I'm just jumping with this, okay, just to get it over with. I mean, players come into the league, and everybody's got their thing that gets them, their special thing. Some people can really shoot, and some people got to handle, some people are strong and rebound. Your thing, you're just filthy, dirty. At any point, you could just put someone live in infamy on the internet at any time. Everyone knew where you had to be on the court because these things you could do with the ball, just dirty. How did that come about? Were you always just kind of have a rhythm to it, or did you have to work on your handles all the time? Like, how'd that come about?
That's a good question. And thank you so much for that, because there's a lot of players, and me having a lot of favorite players, there's so many guys like that kind of helped shape my imagination, right? Like, just you steal from everybody. So I was a kid. I was 2 years old. I had a basketball with me. Like, no matter where I went, I had pictures of me at 2 years old with a basketball. Like, I went to bed, the basketball was next to me. So I would dribble in the mirror sometimes, and I would dribble down the street, and I would try to shake myself in the mirror, right? And imagine it was a Rex Chapman, or imagine it was KJ, or imagine it was Gary Payton, or all these great players. And like, I never thought that one day I would get a chance to use those moves against the best players ever, right? And the best players in the world. So for me, it was just imagination. It was watching guys. And I used to watch Inside Stuff faithfully every single Saturday for jam session or rewind, right? So like, I'm looking at all these things. I'm like, man, look at that Iverson crossover. How can I do that and put a twist on it? How can I steal Isaiah Thomas sitting in a chair? How can I steal MJ's shot creativity or Magic's no-look passes? So I stole from everybody. And I think with that, I'm a product of that. Like, I remember Rex, when he threw it over his shoulder and was dunking, like I was doing that in the Dunkables, like 7 feet, right? 7 feet hoops, 8 feet hoops. I promise you, true story. And he made it look so cool. So just like my imagination just ran wild with the stuff I was able to see. And I just kind of went from there.
Wow, the way you talk about it, and it really is, it's art. And you were creating on top of other artists. And I love the way you put it that way, because that is one thing I think about when I see you play. It was very much an artistic expression. So thank you.
Thank you so much. And then I look at it like that. Like, when people even see like me scoring, or when I was scoring and doing, they would say, oh, he's getting buckets. I would look at it more like art. I was like, no, this is art. Like, my mind kind of works that way. Right. And so to see it that way was pretty cool of you to see it that way. Thank you.
Thank you.
You remind, I mean, Josh thinks you're, one of two, really. He compares you athletically and everything to Russell Westbrook. And I get it. Just cat quick, electric, sort of like that. You had to have taken you had to have watched a lot of Allen Iverson, though. I mean, to me, when people don't understand playing against Allen. Yeah, he was 6'1", but he was 6'8". This
arms,
and he'd get to his spot and jump up and shoot it just like you do, just like people who could get off the floor did. But your game, the handles, because I remember when he came in, for the rest of us, it was a different thing. It was a completely different thing. That crossover, and from there on, we started seeing more of it. And then you come in, and I thought you resembled him a lot, just with your quickness and your shiftiness.
Well, Rex, to be honest with you, I literally, my mom, she was here, she would tell you, I had 35 pictures of Allen Iverson on my wall. So and these were like cutouts from magazines, from Slam magazine or from, Hoop magazine, whatever it was, Sports Illustrated. I would cut the pictures out and tape them on the wall. So I feel like out of all the people I watched, he had so much of an effect on me because he was the first person, not the first, but he's one of the first I remember where he would do a move. And most of the time you see his crossovers, he was making a shot after.
Yeah.
He wasn't just doing the move and not making a shot, right? Because we come up especially you are in the league, but we come up in the and one era where guys had handles, we're like, can that translate from this to that, right? Can you really pull that stuff off against the best players in the world? And Iverson brought like a street kind of neighborhood feel with it. You know what I mean? And that's what we kind of grew up playing. Like I didn't have a trainer. I didn't have a trainer until I got to the NBA. You know what I mean? So for us, the trainers were the old guys at the park. They're like, no, you're not getting the ball right now. You got to cut it. You got to rebound it. If you get this open shot, you better make it because you got to prove you're youngest out here. You're 12, 13 years old. You got to prove you could be out here and play with these grown men who are beating you up and fouling you and playing like that, right? So, but Iverson was just like a whole different thing. To see somebody that small, that creative, and his left to right crossover was killing everybody.
Yeah.
And then when he pulled off against MJ, it was like, oh, he's a cult figure. Now it's like urban legend, right?
Yeah.
He made the shot, of course.
Mm-hmm.
And so seeing that, as a kid in my area, everybody wants to do that left to right crossover. So then walking around neighborhoods, it's like, oh, you're going to do the Iverson. So I'm like, okay, now you got to do something where they haven't kind of seen it. So I started kind of having the same mindset, but I'm going to do it behind the back. I'm like, if I can do it behind the back, they can't get to it. They would probably reach and foul me. They might, you know what I mean? It's only I know where the ball's going. They can't really see it sometimes.
Yeah.
So I start mastering that behind the back, and kind of just try to bring my own thing.
See, but that's genius. And that's why I say when I played, I just sound old when I say that. So, but when we played, you just took what the defense gave you. It was a jab step game pretty much, right? If Isaiah Thomas could dribble right, it wasn't like that. And what I've noticed now, and you were really one of the with that behind the back, the crossover, the behind the back. You guys invented a whole era where you changed the game. You could beat you taking what the defense gives, but you also have prepackaged moves now where I hit them with this one or that one. Yeah. And we didn't even know how to do that. I don't know how you guys had the imagination to dream that up. So
after your era, it became like, I think Tim Hardaway was right there in your era, but then it was like Allen Iverson, White Chocolate, Jason Williams, right? And then like Steve Francis, Baron Davis, and myself. We were kind of like the next wave. Yeah. And it's crazy now because obviously I have kids who play. And it's funny because I work with them, but they'll be different trainers, sometimes off-brand trainers. And some of the stuff they're showing is stuff that I like made up when I was 16 years old. Like jumping, hesitating with 2 feet off the ground to your crossover. Yeah. I'm like, that's crazy because I never thought when I was 16 it would be a training tool. Right. I didn't think it'd be something people would be teaching. Like it was something I was just trying to be creative with. And so you're right. But seeing White Chocolate, seeing, Skip to My Lou, seeing these guys' handles and the way they dribble, it was like they had total control of the game. I mean, like you said, at the time, Isaiah Thomas is one of the few that we've seen that can handle the ball like that, to that level, to that degree. And now you got guys like Kyrie, you got Steph, you got CP, you have so many. Now it's a weapon. It's truly a weapon. Before, you know how it is, Rex, before, I don't care if you're the best shooter in the world, you weren't taking 5 threes a game. These guys are taking 15 threes in a game. Yeah. Right? And the worst shot in basketball when I came in the league was an off-the-dribble three-pointer. It's like, you can get that shot with 4 seconds left. What are you doing? Now, if you do that shot, they're almost building teams around you because it's such a weapon. It's changed the game. So it's fun to watch the game evolve. I always wonder how you would play in this era, the way you could jump and shoot it and everything. Like, you would be even better than you already were, which is crazy.
Oh man, I would have loved to, but we were both 8th picks, and I have to in the draft, and I have to ask this because at my size, and which is similar to your size, everyone was envisioning me being a combo 1 and 2, and I know that the league did that to you. At some point, though, that was abandoned because I was a 2.
Yes.
I mean, so at what point do you feel like teams sort of gave up that idea that you were going to come in and run the team, and that instead you were going to be a scorer and a bucket getter?
So a little bit of my story as far as when I won a state championship in high school, I was a point guard, no doubt about it. I got to college and I started playing combo guard. You know, myself and Kevin Gaines at the time in Michigan, we were both about 6'4", 6'5". So he handled the ball, I handled the ball, we both shoot it. So we switched off. I get drafted as high as I did after half a season by being a point guard. Jerry Krause loved tall guards. They had him with Pip. They had him with MJ, obviously. They had him with Ron Harper. So he loved tall guards, and he envisioned me playing the triangle, being able to, you know, play off the ball as well as orchestrate. What happened was I was a point guard then. I tear my ACL going into my second year.
Yep.
I come back. Jay Williams from Duke is drafted.
I'm glad you brought that up. I'm dying to know about this.
Right. Okay. So then at the time, Coach Cartwright wouldn't play us together. He was like, you guys are too small defensively. He was like, one's playing and the other's not. So one's going to start, one's going to sub. And so from that point on, we split time. Whether it was 30 minutes him being the starter, 18 minutes me, or 26, 22, whatever it was, we split time until the last, I want to say 20 games of the season, and start playing us together. We took off. I averaged 19, he averaged 19. I averaged 6 assists, he averaged 6 assists. And we were playing together because we were playing faster. We gave us speed, right? And we were going. It wasn't like, and by the way, when we were playing 1-on-1, none of us really thrived because we were looking over our shoulder at the other one. We were the same age, right? Like,
right.
Man, this is crazy. So we started playing together and we took off. Boom. Motorcycle accident happened.
Yeah.
Damn. So now we're like, damn, like we just got all this momentum. We finally get a chance to play together. We were both All-Americans in high school. We knew each other from high school. We finally get a chance to play with each other, and then that happens. So now we draft Kirk Heinrich, who's more of a pure point guard, right?
Yeah.
And I was probably the best scorer on the team. Actually led the team in scoring that year. That's when I became like the full-time 2. From that point on, and like you said, it wasn't really combos at that time. It was like you're a 1 or you're a 2. You know, it's kind of pretty much straightforward, right?
Think about that, though. Think about that. They how much the league has changed. Jay Will, 6'2", strong as shit, right? You 6'5" and long. Y'all were too small to play in the backcourt at the same time when Toronto is starting Kyle Lowry and Fred VanVleet right now.
And won a championship.
And won a title. That's amazing.
Like it's amazing how the game has evolved. And it's just unbelievable because I don't want to say we were ahead of our time, but in a way we were. Because if we played together, there's no telling how successful we'd have been together because we were both really, really good. We were dynamic. We were both dynamic. Yeah.
Go ahead, Josh. What you got? I know you're dying to get in.
I am. I just love hearing it. You guys, I like hearing YouTube savants talk about the game. So please go ahead.
He's a legend, man.
I got 2 of them in front of me. You know, I'm about 6'3", 6'4", but I'm about 5'7" length. I just didn't have it.
I'm 6'5" with a 7-foot wingspan.
See,
that's crazy.
I mean, it's crazy.
Arms.
And
like a little T-Rex.
People ask me all the time, we're like, well, how big of an impact is that? And I go, well, you don't block shots with your head. You know, you don't get them, right?
Right. And you're able to shoot those floaters over 7-footers. Or for me, it really worked for my ball handle because there would be times I would lose the ball and people would think I would lose it. My arms would reach around and snatch it and put them into another move. You know what I mean? So
that
it had
and then
advantages there too, for sure.
That and you didn't think about it. I certainly didn't think about it when I was young, but you know, laying in the weeds defensively, you can hide further away and a guy and just, you know, bait him into throwing it into the passing lane where you can get to it faster and because you're longer. Right.
For sure. It makes you a step faster, right? Because you don't have to be there. You're able to kind of be in 2 places at once, you know, kind of hover, dribbling, or being, like you said, laying in the weeds and knowing that you're going to get that steal. So it works to your advantage.
I got a buddy that I've known for a long time. I met in Los Angeles, and he's from Seattle. His name's Brett Barrett. And he has you on a pedestal like nobody. He's from Seattle, and he's been chirping in my ear for 25 years about all the players. And now people recognize the talent that comes out of there. But it was maligned for years. It wasn't really known. It wasn't talked about. And Seattle, was thought of, rain and coffee, and now it is definitely thought of as a hotbed for real talent. And you guys are so loyal to one another and loyal to that place and always prop it up. I'm from Kentucky as well, as Rex. So we're kind of like that because people are like, maybe horses and hillbillies and urban, but we always represent Kentucky because we love it and know that other people don't. What is it about Seattle that A, puts out all this talent, and B, what keeps you guys such a close fraternity?
Well, A, to answer the first part, is it rains a lot, so we're always in the gym, right? There's nothing else to do but be in the gym. So we're always working on our games. We're always trying to get better. The crazy part, where I think people start noticing on a national level, was like George Carl's Friends of Hoop, and I think Rotary style team, because those were the first teams to me that kind of put us on a national map, going to the Vegas tournaments, going to LA tournaments, going to tournaments across the country, where now people are like, oh, Seattle got some talent up there in the Northwest. You know what I mean? So I don't think people knew. I think there was talented people before we actually came out, right? But then I think the rest of the country kind of caught on and people started going to the Michigans or the North Carolinas, right? Or the Dukes or Arizonas, right? Like big, big schools. And when that happened, everybody else was like, whoa, like, wow, like they got some players up there. And then to answer your second part, for me personally, Doug Christie was the person who really like embraced me. All right. And
Doug was really good.
High school.
He's
really 10 years
good.
older. Right. And he had the pro-am. I took over the pro-am. I played in on 16. When he got towards the end of his career, he passed it to me. And when I was 16 years old, I didn't have Doug's number. But he would say, I'm going to be at the gym at 7 o'clock. Gym's probably 45 minutes away. I'll be out there at 6:30 waiting for him. I was like, I don't want your number. I don't want a dollar from you. Just show me how to be a pro.
He had to whip your ass, though, in those days, right? Because he was grown man. Yeah.
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah.
But just that I was able to, he was the first person I ever seen with like a foam roll stick. He was the first person like working out with a weight vest on. So I'm looking at how, I'm like, oh, the pros are doing this. Okay. So he gave me a window into that world and I just stuck to his hip. I never had his phone number. Stuck to his hip, but he saw it was serious. So he took an interest in me. Like, all right, you got the talent. Now you got the work ethic and you listen. Let's make it happen. So for that, it changed my life. And I always tell Doug that. So from there, I went to the Bulls. And I saw that you would have Antoine Walker over here, Tim Carter over here, Mike Finley over here. These guys played together, but I didn't really see a lot. I didn't personally see a lot of, if they were doing foundation events, all of them would show up. And I want to bring that culture here to Seattle. So if Isaiah Thomas is doing a weekend, he knows he's going to have 15 of his NBA brothers from here that show up. If DeJounte Murray's on a backpack giveaway, he's going to have 15 of his NBA guys there to support him. If I'm doing my pro-am, every guy's going to be on the team. If Nate Robinson's doing a softball game, we're all going to be there. And so I think that's what makes it special. And then all of us are still attached to the community. There's an 8th grader right now who can text Zach Levine and ask for advice on, can you break down this film for me or whatever. And he can do that with DeJounte Murray or any one of us. And I think that right there, helping the next generation get back is what makes it special.
Awesome. Yeah. That's so awesome. How painful, speaking of Seattle, how painful is it to not have the Sonics there or a team there? Because I didn't know anybody in Seattle, but I played my whole career loving to go there and just walk around and on days off. It was, I had never, I'm from Kentucky. I didn't have every city seemed like New York City to me, but it was right on the, right on the water. You go down the wharf, everything. It's beautiful. But the Sonics were such a big part of it. It's got to be painful.
It was unbelievably painful. If you look at our fan base, right? You look at the Seahawks, you look at the Storm, you look at the Sounders, you look at the college team too, University of Washington, and you see like how crazy the fan base is. Once we get a team back here, it's going to be unbelievable. I couldn't believe that we lost it because there was rumors like, oh, you guys are losing. Like, yeah, right. Like, nobody's going to lose the Sonics, right? Like, this is the Sonics. And at the time, Kevin Durant was here.
Yeah.
And we drafted a young Russell Westbrook, right? And it's like, there's no way that we're going to lose this team with this young talent coming in now after having Ray Allen and Charlotte Lewis and all those guys. So I don't want to see anybody else lose their team because we personally know what that feels like. But hopefully with expansion, and I do believe, my fingers are crossed, the next 3, 4, 5 years, there'll be a team back here in Seattle. It's just unbelievable. Golden State came and played here, KD's last year. And Russell Wilson, Cliff Averill, Bobby Wagner, all these guys are at the game. It's their first time going to an NBA game. They're like, this is what it's like. Like, we have to get the Sonics back here. So it was good for them to see it from that perspective as well.
Didn't you work at the gym when the Sonics were there, like in junior high and high school? Or something?
Yeah. So crazy story. And I don't want to brag about myself, but when I was in high school, my name took off so much that I was probably behind Gary Payton, Sean Kemp. I was probably like 3, 4, 5 popularity, and I was in high school. So those guys started coming to my games. They had to start moving my games to Key Arena, which is crazy. But they were coming to my games. And so my sister worked at Key Arena at the time. And so I ended up getting a job there. And I was actually the kid. I remember I worked 27 hours my first 2 days, 14 hours the first day, 13 the second. And I was the kid who brought the food up from the basement to the concession stand, like cotton candy, popcorn, whatever they may run out of, I was bringing it up from the basement. And so normally 10, 15-minute trip, right? I would make it a 45-minute trip because I would take the food and I would stay in the aisle and just watch and just dream, and just visualize and just. I remember one time it was the Sonics were about to play the Timberwolves. And, it's Anthony Peeler was on that team. And it was early in shoot around, and I was there early. And I remember, and Rex, you can relate to this, it was during the Timberwolves shoot around, I'm in the aisle, I say, "Hey, P," and he's kind of looking up like, you know how it is when you go in different arenas and people that work there may scream out your name, you're like, "No, shoot around." Me not knowing now. It's like, oh. But I said his name because I played against him in pro, and I was like, oh, he didn't notice me. I had my uniform on, hat, he didn't notice me. But anyways, like those dreams, I was able to get on the court and dream and look and just watch. And like one day I want to be out there. And so 2, 3 years later, I'm in the NBA. And I remember going back to Key Arena when we played there, and my boss was like, "You played basketball this whole time? You're like a no play." He had zero idea that I was this high school kid that was just bringing up the football. I'm like, "Man, yeah, thanks for giving me a job." And he's like, "What?" It was almost like the Like Mike story, like Bow Wow. He had no idea I played or anything. It happened that fast, and he just just flabbergasted that I actually played that whole time. That I was just this kid bringing up the stuff that I was out there on the court with these pros, right? A year or two later. Crazy.
That's a great story because it's like a young artist happened to work at a gallery. And then 2 years later, they're presenting his art in the gallery owner's like, "That's you,
Josh. You knocked it out the park. That's the perfect analogy. That's exactly what it was.
You got to appreciate it. You were up close to it, and 2 years later, you were out there painting. Sculpting.
It's such a dream. It's like. I am so not jaded by it. Like, it's such a dream. I could tell you everything about any player you want to know about. Like, I studied this my whole life, and I never thought I'd get the opportunity to play in the NBA, even one day. So, like, it's such a dream. You can't be so jaded or caught up in it that, like, you forget about being that kid who used to dream about this. Like, that's why I've never turned down for a kid for an autograph. I remember at a Sonic game, there was a player, I've never said his name and I won't say it, that turned me down for an autograph. And I felt that big. And when I was 9 years old, I said, if I'm ever in position, I'll never turn down a kid. Because to that player, it's just a moment. I got to do this. I got to do that. I got to do this. To that kid, it lasts a lifetime. I've never forgotten who turned me down to this day. But it helped me looking back because it helped me like, you're never doing that to a person, ever. If they want your autograph, if they want to get into you, whoever you are, you take time for that person, period.
Do you want to get an advantage over the sports books during the NBA and NHL playoffs? How about an inside edge this MLB season? Then download BetQL, the only app you'll need to make smart bets. Their best bets algorithm scans over 350,000 bets per year to give you a best bet recommendation for every game across all major sports and gives you the reasoning behind why you should place the bet. BetQL also has tons of other tools like sharp data so you can see who the pros are backing and line movement so you can jump on betting opportunities in real time. Plus, you can save all your picks in one place to track your success and winning streaks, as well as view your rank on their leaderboards. Head to the App Store or Google Play Store now to download BetQL. You can also head to try.betql.co/Rex. Enter the discount code REX at payment checkout for 25% off of their subscription offerings. Don't miss out on the chance to beat the book this summer.
Do you see yourself being a GM maybe one day or running a team?
Yeah, I could absolutely see that. Absolutely. I love the game. Like I'll always be amidst in the game. I can absolutely see myself putting games together. Even in LA Fitness now, like, no, you're on this team, you're on that team. Okay, we'll take him. I'm doing it at LA Fitness. So I know for sure I want to do it at the highest level. I think I love it just as much as anybody that's ever done it, so I have a vested interest for sure.
What's that like for you right now being at this precipice? Go ahead, Rex, because you'll ask it better.
No. Go do it.
No, you're at this strange precipice, this point where you can still go get buckets on anyone, but the sands are going through. I mean, it's like you can go do it. You can get it. But you have a limited time. Are you still itching to go do it? Or are you like, you know what? I've done it. I'm okay with it.
No, I'm absolutely itching. For sure. Like I love to hoop. I just love it. Whenever I retire officially and whenever I'm done, I've said this for 15 years, I'll be playing somewhere, somehow. You'll see these clips pop up. That's just who I am. It's in me. Like I didn't develop that. It's always been in me. And so what I will say is, since this is kind of like the second year kind of being away from it, I played a game last year. This kind of second year, it's a little easier to kind of detach from it a little bit, so now I'll watch games, but I may not watch the whole game. Now, I was the league pass guy, 5 TVs going. I see every single game. I see what's going on. I'll rewatch games if I miss something. Now it's not to that extent and kind of detaching away from it. And I'm getting more into the youth. Like my son is 10 years old and he plays, and I'm really enjoying kind of help with his team and coaching and things of that nature. But that's the part that eats at me because I know I can still hoop without it. Like it's not even a question, right? And and I'm not even saying this because it's me. I promise you. If we got in the gym with whoever you wanted, you'd be like, oh, he still can go, right?
Say no more.
I know.
Yeah.
Say no more.
Who scores 50 their last game off the bench, and then that's it?
Yeah.
Like, what happened?
Yeah.
I mean,
Seriously.
I feel like I'm taking crazy pills. I know. So I want to ask, though, I was texting, I won't say which, with a GM earlier today just to congratulate them on yesterday. I said, I got to run, though, because I got Jamal Crawford coming on today. And he said, tell Crossover what's up and ask him how many shots he's gotten up today or how many he's about to get up.
Hundreds every single day. That part doesn't change. Like Rex and Josh, I play one-on-one by myself.
Yeah.
To 100. Yeah. No, so it's really one on none. And I'm going game speed every single time, no stop till 25 is a quarter. So I'll stop at 25 to get a quick drink and I'm going back at it. If I miss a shot, Rex Chapman or whoever that legend is gets 2 or 3 points, whatever shot I shoot. If I make it, I get those points. We're going to 100. Like the love is, and I'm doing this outside. Like the love is unbelievable. It's undying. And I train as if I'm going to play because I'm not training for them. I'm training for me. This is who I am.
You sound just much like myself as a young kid. I was thinking about your story. I also worked where I played in high school. I would play at the Sports Center in Owensboro, Kentucky. And for a whole year after the games, I would clean up the arena. But that was because I had 50 hours of community service to do. So
still got it done.
Still got it done. I don't know. I'm just I'm fascinated by you. I was eaten up by basketball though. But it kept me very sort of one-dimensional. You sound equally eaten up by basketball and the dream and all of that, but you also seem so diverse in your thoughts and in your mind and your curiosity. I had zero curiosity about anything else. Where does that come from?
I think it comes from life, to be honest with you. Like not that I watch a lot of TV shows, but I pay attention to a lot of different things, and I'm interested in different things. Like my wife always say, if I wasn't a basketball player, I'd be an architect. And I'm not even the best drawer. I just like to design things. I like to be creative in my mind. And she's like, no, I think you'd be a school counselor because you have a really good ear to listen to people. right? And so I'm like, all right, well, that's a good combination. I could be some type of counselor with architectural, creativity in the midst of that. But I don't know. I think it just comes from living, to be honest with you. Like, I've seen the highs, I've seen the lows, I've seen everything in between. Like, I've seen people who are like really wealthy. I've seen people who are wealthy and lost it all. I've seen people who have never had wealth. But I can relate to them all. You know what I mean? So it's just life, just talking to people. What I've learned about myself is I love having conversations with people who have already lived. And not to say that they're going anywhere, just the fact that they've experienced so much already. I think that's how you accumulate wisdom. You accumulate different interests. You accumulate different, because you're not the same person at 20 as you were, at 30. You're always evolving. And so for me, I think, as you evolve, I have a family that's, redirecting my attention and my drive for that. And at a certain point, it becomes less about you and more about those that you care about, especially your kids, right, and their future. So for me, just constantly evolving and still trying to figure it out. Like, I don't know it all. I'm still trying to learn. I'm still trying to figure it out.
Well, I saw you. I randomly ran into on the internet something about, you said your 10-year-old son, like JJ.
Yeah, JJ. Yeah.
Yeah, and how do you deal with that? He's on the internet already getting buckets, and people are like, he plays just like his dad. How do you control his ego in this time, and also how do you nurture it?
Yeah, it's so different now, right? Because before he started playing for like AAU teams, I told him, I'm like, look, there's going to be people out there who are saying you're the best thing. There's going to be people out there who say you're not your dad. There's going to be people out there who say you're not good at all. So you got to have tunnel vision, right? You can't care about rankings. The very few people who were ranked number one in high school or number one in 8th grade end up number one as a senior year in high school. It's just the reality of it. I'm like, don't care about any of that. That's just another person's view of you. That's not the view of yourself. I said, and especially if you really want to do this, we're just putting it piece by piece, right? Step by step until, we get wherever we're trying to go. But enjoy it. I want to have fun. Like, we're going to work at it. And luckily, for me and him, I guess, is that, I've done it for so long that I kind of can help guide him. But I want him to never lose that love for it and that passion. Just always have fun and embrace it. And I have an older son who plays college basketball as well, right? And then I have 2 daughters who have totally different interests. One daughter is into dance and one's into soccer and karate. So it's just like, it's really cool because you have to have the same algorithm with all of them, right? And be vested with all of them and really know that whatever they want to do is important to us as well. And me and my wife, I think, do a pretty good job of that.
You had to put down the basketball when you were a kid, though, right? For a little while. You weren't always you weren't always perfect.
Oh,
right?
absolutely.
What was going on then?
Right, and I was getting in trouble. Right, sometimes hanging with the wrong crowd. Sometimes middle school age. Middle school age, yeah, for sure. High school, especially the beginning of high school, but middle school age. I mean, I was the kid. I love baseball. I played football as well. So I played those 3. I started all of them at 8 years old. But I was mischievous as a kid sometimes. I was always running with older people. Even then, I'm running with older people trying to do what they're doing. Sometimes I would come in the house, I'm 10 years old. I may come in the house with my dad because my mom and dad were together. When I was with my mom and sisters, I was kind of the man of the house at 10. I was coming in at 10 o'clock at night sometimes, right? And I couldn't imagine my kid right now, 10 years old, coming in at 10 at night. So, I was able to kind of grow up fast. And a lot of times we hear about the horror stories of that. And like I said, I have some stories too. But for me, I guess I was in the minority as far as turning around and making it work.
Sometimes I just interesting what you said. You played all those other sports, and this has come up in some other pod talks because we're from a generation where you played everything. Rex and I, you just played whatever sport was that season, and I didn't touch a basketball again until it was basketball season.
Right.
That was 6th grade. That's what you did, and every year. I just thought you got better because I grew every year, and I'm like, I'm just way better.
I'm naturally going to get better, right?
Yeah. Unfortunately, I didn't learn that doesn't happen as you're an adult. I just go, hey, I'll be better next year. No, right. That's worse. But how much, you said that diversity, how much of that helped you in basketball? And are your kids specializing now the way people are specializing their kids in sports?
I think the diversity helped me because basketball was always my first love. But playing other sports like baseball, hand-eye coordination, with football, bringing a certain level of toughness, right? So it helped me with other sports, but it all led back to me, I think, being a better basketball player. because even though I was doing those other things, I still missed basketball. I was like, yeah, I'm learning these other sports. Wait till I get back to basketball with this hand-eye coordination. Wait till I get back to basketball, like not scared to go to the hole, right? So like they all led back to basketball, even though I was doing those other things and playing different sports. But for me, the kids, like my son plays flag football as well. He wants to play tackle. And we're like, you get hit twice and you're over with. The first one, you're like, oh, okay, it hurts. The second one, you're like, I'm retiring. This is not happening. So they do other things. My youngest daughter, she does karate. She does hip hop. She does soccer. She really loves karate and soccer. So I spend a lot of time out there kicking with her. My middle child, which is my second oldest daughter, my oldest daughter, she's really good at dancing at ballet, like really, really good at ballet. Like she's 8 years old in 12-year-old class at ballet. Like she's really good.
Wow.
And so, so they all have different interests and we support them like to the moon with all of it. And it gives them confidence, right? It's not like, okay, I have a basketball dad and my mom and that's it, right? Like, no, everything's important to it.
If I had a great daughter or son that was super at basketball, I would make them go throw baseball with me at least every once in a while, because if you're going to be really good, you're going to throw out a pitch one day and you're not going to humiliate your family like a lot of these great athletes do. You are going to at least throw it overhand and get it towards the catcher.
I'm with you, Josh. I'm with you on that one. That's good advice. I didn't think about it that way, but we're kind of along the same lines. So that's good.
All right.
Hey, Jamal, who was the first guy in the league that just taught you a lesson, busted your ass? And then who was also the guy who, as a young player, rookie maybe, that you played against or team and went, all right, I belong?
Ooh, good question. The first part, I think, is my first preseason game, first or second preseason game. And we were in the Garden and we were playing against the Knicks. At the time, Sprewell was there. And I think they just went to the finals the year before in the lockout shortened season in 99, right? Mm-hmm. Some 98, 99. Yep. And at the time at the Garden, when the Knicks came out and the visiting team came out, it was just a long hallway, but you could see each other. And so I remember it was a Jay-Z quote. Sprewell from there said, it was the first game. She was like, okay, I'm reloaded. And I'm like, I was just in college and this is Sprewell saying this. I'm like, oh shit, this is crazy. So we go on the court in the Garden. And I'm already thinking about that when I'm guarding. This is Spree. Like Spree was, it had just been the finals. And I looked one way and he rejected the screen. And it was a jab rejected. And he was dunking it. I was like, oh my God, like it was a whole different speed. And I had seen the move so much, right? But it's just different when you're out there. It's like you're in quicksand. So he was the first person in any scored some other buckets, posted me up. I thought I played good D. He was the first person that busted my ass. I wasn't out there long, but the stint I was out there, he went right at me. So he was the first one. And the first time I had success that I can remember was that stood out to me. I'll say this. It wasn't the first time I had success, but it was the first time I felt like I arrived.
Yeah.
We were playing against, it's my third year, we were playing against Allen Iverson. And at the time, it was my career high. I had 33 points and 8 assists. And I thought I played solid D on him, and he had 42. And that was the first time I was like, okay, Allen Iverson, one of my heroes, he at least knows my name after this game.
Yeah.
Like, he knows my name. And that was the first moment I was like, okay, he knows my name. I feel confident out here.
Awesome. Remember a time that you were out there and maybe you were a vet, 5-year vet or something. Some rookie came in and said something, and you were like, I'm sure it happened a lot, but you were like, ball. And then you just busted his ass. You remember one that sticks out?
I remember one. I won't say his name, but I definitely remember one. And I was at a point, like you said, I was 5+ years in. So I was at a point then where if I called for the ball, I could get the ball. And then it became like, he was like, okay, I didn't mean it. I wasn't saying like that. I'm like, nah, it's too late now. Because one thing about me, Josh, I don't talk shit. I won't say a word. Like, I won't say anything. And I think that's kind of hard to read as a defender because it's not like I'm getting so emotional about something or like, I didn't say anything. And so then I start talking. And then when I start talking, I don't shut up. So I was like, okay, he learned his lesson. But honestly, I haven't had too many people like talk shit. Most people, I'll tell you what I have had though. I have had people, once I get going and start skipping and shit and like, hey, like before they come to the game, like, hey, if they sub in late, they're like, hey, don't be on that tonight, man. I got people watching. Do that. I have had that though.
Yeah, you know what?
And I've never said that on an interview, but I have had that.
You know what I find fascinating too? It is great. What I find fascinating too, and you're one of the guys that I always like asking this, because I was around to see. Well, I know how people did MJ, and I know how I played against MJ when I was like right away at first. You guys, Allen Iverson, KG, you know, some of these guys that are big time guys and who play for so long. The kids come in the league, they've had posters of you on their wall. And I've seen guys play against you and completely lay down and just won't compete. And I'm like, when, I don't want names, but when was the first time you kind of noticed that they're deferring to me because of of my reputation?
Yeah, that's a good point. To be honest with you, I remember in New York because, like, you know how it is, Rex. When you go in the garden, it's like you're on stage performing. You don't want to mess up. You don't want to be embarrassed. So you're already kind of, if you're not a guy who's going to get 15, 20 shots where you can get in rhythm, you're already kind of on edge, right?
Yeah. You
may see one of your favorite actors over there or favorite musicians or whatever. And so the gardens where I first started noticing it, where I was like, oh man, I could see it in their eyes. Like, oh, so at that point, it doesn't even become, let me stop this guy. It's like, no, forget stopping. I just don't want to be embarrassed.
Yeah.
And then it really took off with social media, because then things start living forever, right? And it's instantly you're famous for the wrong reasons. It's like you're instantly a meme.
Yeah.
And so that's when it really got crazy. And I would say around the Clipper time, because that's when like people were like, no, I'm not going to be on Instagram or Twitter living there forever. So that's when I said the second part where people were like, no, don't be on that tonight. Like, I got people watching. And I would be like, you know, sometimes I would say nothing. Sometimes I'll throw them off. Sometimes I'd be like, okay, or, you know, something quick. But yeah, that's where it really was like, I saw the fear more, to be honest.
That's awesome.
Yeah, that was the play.
That move that I had to watch 5 times in slow motion, where you go behind your back. You go behind your back, but it comes back on the same. Like, you look like you're going behind your back, and then somehow you like look. I told Rex it's like a lacrosse move, you know, where they cradle like, and you go back over, and then I called it lacrosse over.
Lacrosse.
There we go.
Hey, Josh, we may have to patent that. I ain't never heard that one.
Yeah,
awesome.
Yeah.
I like that.
Crawford's lacrosse over. That was filthy. That is.
I always wanted to make All-Star game, right?
Same.
I always did. I always figured I would make at least. And I thought I had like 3 seasons where I should have made it, to be honest with you. But 2 of them I was coming off the bench at the time. But anyways, this is no lie, I literally have 10 moves I've never pulled out because I was saving it for that stage, right? Because we all remember when Tracy McGrady threw off the backboard dunk in the All-Star game, right? We always remember those certain like signature plays. We all remember the Kobe dunk with Garnett threw him the lob, or the wraparound move he did. But I literally had 10 plays. I still have them, but where I was going to do it for the All-Star game. Now I'm going to have to pass them to my son. They're like the Prince records in the vault, right? You may never see them, but
the B-sides.
Exactly.
I literally had 10 plays that I've never shown anybody. And they're just in my head, and I can do them on command. Which is crazy. It's the craziest shit ever. Yeah, for real.
We just need to set up the pay-per-view for that, Josh.
Yeah.
Tonight, Jamal's never seen. It's like the Al Capone vault. They better be in there.
My 10 best moves I have, I'd never show anybody.
That's amazing,
man.
Hey, I know we got to get that worked out, please. All right, let's talk about the playoffs. What do you like? What you like so far? I mean, who impressed you so far?
Wow, there's been some really good performances. Like I think starting in the East, I think Philly's gonna win the series. But I thought if Washington, I've said this all along throughout the season, if they had one more perimeter score, I thought, you know, just another weapon for these times. It feels,
if there would only been one available.
Right. It's unbelievable, right? But I thought they were missing one perimeter score in that series. The Bucks Heat is going to get interesting.
Yes,
because I think that's going to be a long series, right? And once you go 7 games, anything can happen. Last year, obviously, the Heat putting them out, they kind of had their number, but Holiday gives them a certain swagger, certain confidence. The New York-Atlanta series looks like it's going to be a long one as well, because that game could have went either way. I think I like when Derrick Rose has the ball. I know Randall's a guy, but I think Derrick Rose, when he's playing, he gives him a certain pace.
Are you as surprised as I am that Derrick is doing what he's doing once that explosive athleticism diminished? I can't believe that he's great right now.
He's unbelievable. And you know what? I'm not, Rex, only because after all that, he came with us in Minnesota. So I saw him every day in practice, and I saw him building it up. And he doesn't jump as high vertically, but his quick twitch and his quickness is still there, right? There. Obviously not when he was 10 years ago, but I think he's a more well-rounded player because now I believe he's playing with his mind first, right? It's not like the athleticism he's playing with. He's playing with the mind first, and then he's putting himself in those positions. But, I feel like he gives him a pace and a flow. So if he has the ball, I think everybody kind of touches it. He kind of is picking apart. He's an MVP, right? He's a closer. He knows how to close games.
Right.
So I think that series goes 7. And then who else we got in the East?
Brooklyn.
We have Brooklyn. Yeah, I think Brooklyn wins. I think they'll win out. No problem. Right. And then in the West, the Clippers. The part that's kind of, for me, interesting is like, obviously they had a year to kind of prep for this moment, right? The way they went out.
Yep.
And it's like, okay, you're not showing that urgency. That's kind of concerning. But maybe if Kawhi switches on Luka in the second game, we kind of see how that looks after that. But I think they still ultimately win. It's just shit. I thought it would be a little bit easier. And then the Lakers, Phoenix is probably the most interesting one, depending on CP's health.
Mm-hmm.
Because I think this is one of the first times where LeBron has played a chess player like himself. Chris is the same thought process, the way he moves the pieces, the way he does everything. And I think Booker's a closer. And Book used to ask me what the playoffs was like. And he's built for the plaffs.
When I saw yesterday, I was like, he might get 40 today. Right?
He's wanted this forever. So it didn't surprise me how he came out. And what surprised me most was the Lakers were already double teaming him early. I'm like, well, you guys built a team with all these defenders, right? KCP and Wesley Matthews and all these guys, but you're still double teaming him, which is effectively going to get somebody an open shot. But I mean, it'd be tough to put the Lakers out, but I think that goes 7 as well. Wow. But Chris's health is going to be a big question there. Yeah. And then we have, I think Portland beats Denver.
I do too.
I believe they beat Denver. I think they just have more closers. I think no Jamal Murray, even though Michael Porter is ascending, obviously, it's different when you've done it before. And Murray had did it last year in the bubble. When he came, he started out a little slow in the season, but I feel like his swagger would have rose to the top. And him and Jokic have such a good chemistry.
Yeah.
Porter right now is getting, kind of like top billing as a perimeter player for them. And because of that, he's going to get top billing attention as well, right? So that's going to be a little bit tougher for them to get through. And then we have, I think Utah ultimately can get back if Donovan Mitchell comes.
Right.
I don't know the situation. Obviously, we see a lot of, he wanted to play, he couldn't play. So I don't know what's going on there. If he doesn't come, I think Memphis wins. But because Memphis is playing like they have absolutely nothing to lose. They're playing confident. Right. They're playing free. Right. But if Mitchell comes back, they were number 1 for a reason. So, that's something there. And then who's the last 2 teams we got?
We got them. I think you hit them all. Oh, well, Lakers, Clip. No, that's it. You hit all of them. I want to know how dirty, filthy is Luka?
Luka plays like he has headphones on. And what I mean by that is it doesn't matter the pressure you give him. It doesn't matter. He's at peace. Oh, you do this, I do that. It's all good. You do that, I do this. It's all good. The guy is playing like he has Rex, am I lying?
I know. Like you're exactly right.
He's so at peace. And you can tell the game's in slow motion for him. Right? He doesn't care.
I like that he's French to you.
Let me tell you. I had to go to my French voice. I had to go to smooth, easy, butter voice, right? Like,
that's right.
I'm gonna tell you.
Bonjour.
It's easy breezy. I'm gonna tell you a crazy story about Luka. No joke. We were in the bubble last year, and I've never said this. We were in the bubble last year. At the time, us, Memphis, Dallas, Indiana, Philly, Orlando all stay in the same kind of bubble, right within the bubble. I see Luka at the mill room. This is no lie. I'm standing behind him, probably 20, 25 feet. He's limping. like really limping as he's walking. I said, there's no way he's playing tonight. That was the night he hit the game when he shot over the Clippers. When he had 42 points. He was limping. Like I said, there's no way he's playing tonight. So that tells me he's a gamer. He's tough. He can shoot it. Like in his size, he's a little bit quicker than you think he is when you try to press him. He's a little bit stronger than you think he is when you try to get into his body. So Luka is just, he's amazing. And the fact he's so young, he's a savant already.
Because when I see him, like yesterday, watching him play against this weekend, watching him play against Kawhi, when they would get matched up, look, Kawhi, those hands, that claw,
the size, yeah.
But he moves Kawhi. He even moves Kawhi around. He'll back him down. What?
Right.
That dude's different. And
I think there's a reason the Clippers haven't put Kawhi on. It's not that Kawhi is just going to stop him, right? I think it's going to take a lot out of him on the offensive end, right? So we're like, hey, let's see if we can negate him, if we can negate Luka, control him at least, and then kind of save Kawhi. Now we got to put him on him. We got to, all hands on deck. We got to go get this win.
Yeah.
Let me ask some things because I got you, and I'll never have you like this again. Was there a time, probably in a pro-am or open run, or maybe in an NBA game, maybe in college, I don't know, but where you did a move and that you remember the crowd just being like, the game shut down. What was that? And is it the same move as, was there a time that you did a move and you were like, well, that was dirty?
It's true. So the answer to the first question, I was in high school, and this is on tape, by the way. I haven't released it or anything. Actually, a friend of mine has. I have to get it from him. So I catch the ball full court. The hoop is the other way. I turn my back to the hoop. So I'm walking up court, but I'm walking up court backwards. To put it in perspective, and there's defense there. I'm walking up court backwards. I'm skipping through the legs, walking backwards. The hoop is behind me now, and I'm walking backwards. Oh, no, Rex, it gets better. Hold on. I'm walking backwards. So the hoop's where the jersey is. I'm walking backwards through my legs like this. I finally know my bearings. I get to about the hash mark. I take one. Now I turn and face the hoop with the defender there. The defender was scared of pressure the whole time.
Yeah.
I turn and face the hoop. I touch the ground. I throw the ball over my neck. I shoot the ball and turn around before the ball goes in. And I'm like, did it go in? Did it go in? And the crowd, it went in. The crowd lost it. I was in high school. We won state championships that year. The crowd lost it.
You have that tape somewhere? You have that on tape?
That's
please.
On tape.
God.
Please.
I gotta see it. That's
and
amazing.
one day, I promise you, I will release it.
Please do it.
Yes.
Oh,
and the crowd lost it. And
I bet.
I remember I was with the Bulls. It was the summertime. We were playing Northwestern with some of their players. And I made a guy fall twice on the same play. So I did a move, made him fall, brought the ball back, let him get up, did a move, and he fell again and hit the shot. Their players with me. Like lost it. Yeah. Those two plays stand out.
Yeah, that's great.
You
have a filthy five. You're on the team. You got four more, just the filthiest players you ever played with or against or watched. You have four more, filthy five.
Just filthy?
Yes. Dirty, filthy. No.
You're on the team. You're on the team.
Sorry.
I never put myself on those lists, but I'm going to get you
I'm putting you on it. I'm putting
Steph Curry.
Steph Curry is filthy. Kyrie is filthy.
Yes.
KD is filthy. And Kobe and Michael Jordan are filthy.
There you go.
They're filthy. Take me off it. That's why I got those five. If you want
Allen Iverson is filthy.
Allen Iverson is. We should have just did a guards, just five small guards. I would have but Allen Iverson's filthy too. Like that's what I love. Like when you look at history of the game, there's so many filthy guys. Like just T-Mac was filthy. Yes. Baron Davis was filthy, right? Steve Francis was filthy. Like there's so many filthy guys that you just tip your. Rex was filthy. Like you just tip your hat to these guys. Like
he was,
and you thank them for the inspiration, whether they were a peer or whether they came before you. Thank them for the inspiration. Like man, you made me better, whether you know it or not. Right? I stole something from you. It may not even come out right now, but I stole something from you, which is
that is art. And
art.
Let me tell you, you are on the Mount Rushmore of filth.
Yes.
You're not going to say it. I'm telling you, You are on the Mount Rushmore of filthy.
I second.
I appreciate that so much, you guys, because I'm telling you, I'm really just a kid who lived a dream hooping. Like, that's it. I'll be in the backyard. If I make this shot, I'm going to Michigan. And they would somehow make it. I'm in 7th grade. They don't know who I am. If I make this shot, I'm going to NBA. Like, I was that kid. So, like, to do this in real time, like, I thank God every single day for it. I really,
Awesome.
really, really do.
Awesome. Josh, you got 2 more quick ones for Maul?
Well, yeah, I got the, do you have a favorite movie?
Coming to America. Original.
Oh, yeah, of course. Did you see the second one?
I did. I watched it with my kids and they were laughing at everything. I got to go back and watch it alone. Really, I'm Coming to America like fuck.
Yeah, me too. Me too.
And that's one of the 2 people. One of the 2 people I've never met that I want to be. Eddie Murphy. He's one of the 2.
Yeah, he's. I would say he's one of the artists that's probably inspired me the most. Eddie Murphy.
Yes.
I mean, I just can quote every movie, everything he said. My inflection, the way I speak today, is because of that raw and delirious. Most of my good friends can do all those. Okay, so Coming to America, love it. And then front row center for any concert, speaker, any dead or alive, you're front row center for it.
It's a tie between Michael Jordan and Michael Jackson. I would just like to see them, because to me, like, for the art form, as we're speaking of art, for the art form and what they do, their art, they were the highest level of that. Like, they were the ceiling of that art form. And so for me, I believe they're both artists too. Like, I really believe, like, Michael Jordan, you can't tell me he wasn't an artist. I'll sit, my wife would tell you, she was in there. I will sit, I just watched the Last Dance game, but I'll sit and watch Michael Jordan highlights from like 84 or 80. Last night I was watching when he played against the NBA All-Star team, or NBA All-Stars when he was with the USA team in 84. He wasn't even playing an NBA game. He'll do stuff and I'll laugh. Like, this looks futuristic. Like, This was 30 years ago. It looks like the future of what the sport will look like. Like, he's such an artist, and Michael Jackson, being such a perfectionist and he's past icon, he's past everything. But if you watch when he's dancing, every time he does like a foot move, it matches with the beat.
He never misses. He never missed.
The smallest details, right? It's unbelievable. And I'll tell you guys something, and I don't know if I've ever said it, and this is a conversation I had with Kobe when he was alive, is that Michael Jackson was one of his first mentors. And he used to talk about that. He told me about it. He was like, Michael was like, it's okay for people to look at you weird. Just go chase what you're chasing. You're going to be looked at. Most geniuses are a little weird, quote unquote, right? So he was like, just go chase it. Go for it. And I remember Kobe telling me stories of Michael calling the house. Like, crazy stuff.
That's great.
But those 2 people.
Man, Maul, thanks, buddy. Come back again, please.
We got to do a part 2. Come on, are you serious?
Oh, no question. In. All right, Josh, Jamal Crawford.
I gotta follow you, Josh, on Twitter. I gotta follow you. You got some good stuff going.
Oh, thanks, buddy. Man, I really appreciate you. Mr. Josh Hopkins, Mr. Josh Hopkins.
I got you.
I thank you for this. You are an artist at the highest form. And to hear you talk about it as art makes me so happy, because I definitely consider you a genius on the court, an artist. So I'm so glad to hear your passion, and it makes me really happy. So thank you for this whole conversation. Thanks, Rex.
I appreciate it.
Thank you, Maul. Come back again on the Rex Chapman Show with super cool Josh Hopkins, powered by basketballnews.com. Well, Josh, that was your guy, Aaron Jamal Crawford. You guys are great friends now.
Great friends. Zippity doo dah, zippity yay. What? You're right, man. What a great guy. Well, so humble. So humble. If I could do that with a basketball, if I could humiliate people like that, that's why God didn't give it to me, because I would be such a dick. I would just be, no, you're like not. Me. I want to jump the pile on you there, but no, you're actually not like that. But I would just be a total what? Huh? No, I don't want to do a picture. I'm cool. No, I would be a dick that's why God didn't give that to me.
Yeah,
and wow, what a humble, cool, great artist.
Can't wait to see what he does next. Really. I mean, I know he can still play. I know he wants to move on and do something else in basketball. He'll be a success. You know it. I mean, what a thoughtful, curious, dude, and what lucky kids to be raised by that guy. Got to be a great dad.
Real.
You know what we have, Josh? That was awesome. Really. You know what we have next week?
Yeah, we got a little twist, don't we?
We got a little twist coming up. We've got Scott O'Neil, CEO of the Philadelphia 76ers.
Mm-hmm. And a book coming out.
He does have a book coming out. We may have to pull book duty again, like we always do every week.
Yeah, but more reading.
And more reading for us. So next week,
I know he's an impressive cat. I've already done some reading about him and stuff. And smart, really smart. I'm gonna learn something next week for sure.
I'm gonna try. I'm not gonna promise I will, but I'm gonna try. I'm trying to get
your
better.
Best efforts.
I'm trying to do better. I just don't know how. So, guys, join us next week. We'll have Scott O'Neil, CEO of the Philadelphia 76ers, and we're powered by basketballnews.com here on the Rex Chapman Show with super cool Josh Hopkins. Subscribe, rate, and review. See